Yes, people. What's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash a like and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are new round here. Hit 6K the other day, so big thank you for all the support so far, but on to 7K now. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. And let's dive into today's video then. Well, I'm going to be posing the question, should Thiago Silva still be starting for Chelsea every week this season? Like it's an interesting one. By no accounts am I saying that he shouldn't be. I'm just kind of posing the question, and it's an interesting talking point. You know, obviously he's not getting any younger. 39 years of age he'll be this season. A phenomenal footballer, has been absolutely superb for Chelsea. Probably one of my favourite Chelsea players ever, and certainly over the last few years since his arrival, he's been nothing short of superb. Apart from when we play West Brom, but it's an interesting one now with obviously the new project, the defenders we've got our availability. You know, Fofana obviously injured right now, but Fofana, Badiashile, the Sassy has come in, Levi Colwell. It kind of begs the question: is it beneficial to the long-term future of Chelsea and the likes of Badiashile's development, the likes of obviously the Sassy's development potentially has come into play? Fofana when he gets back playing as well, although Thiago Silva may not be here at that point in time, but it does pose a question, and it's been an interesting conversation because obviously, I've seen things floating about saying that, well, are we only playing a back three so far this season to accommodate Thiago Silva? And again, I'm not sure if we are or not. Again, he's better in a three with more people around him, but at times last season he proved that he was more than capable of playing in a four as well. Absolutely superb against Liverpool. Not as good against West Ham, but the whole back line against West Ham was dreadful. But it is an interesting point because a centre back situation is not something that you want to be rotating on a regular basis. You want that continuity between your centre back pairing and your goalkeeper. Those are the positions on the pitch that you don't want to be making too many changes in. Obviously, in the odd cup game here and there, you'll rest and you'll rotate a little bit. But generally speaking, week in, week out in the league, if your first choice centre back pairing is fit, that's what you go with, and you don't want to make too many changes there. You want continuity there. So what I'm saying is like right now, obviously, Silva and Colwell seems to be the first choice partnership. The Sassy's played because we've been playing in a three, but what happens when Badiashile's back fit again? Like, he's the long-term future of Chelsea. Thiago Silva isn't necessarily. Silva's just going to be able to help us, achieve our goals this season, sure. But is it in the best interests for Chelsea to have a talent like Badiashile sat on the bench for most of the season if Colwell and Silva is the main partnership? I'm not sure if it is. I don't know if maybe we'd be in a better situation where Silva comes in and plays the big games maybe, and then Badiashile and Colwell, which is probably going to be the long-term partnership, or Fofana potentially, play the majority of the other games. It's a really, really tricky one because, as I said, centre-back's not a position you rotate often. But when you've got quality like Badiashile, who is good enough to be playing in the first team, as we saw last season, you've got a talent like Levi Colwell, who has just signed a new long-term deal and is going to be a big part of the future at Chelsea. There's only two spaces, and we've got four very, very good centre-backs that are available now. Obviously, I think Silva will leave at the end of this season, and Fofana will then go into the mix, and it'll be Fofana, Badiashile, the Sassy, and Levi Colwell as the options. But it's a really tough one. I don't want to. I'd feel uncomfortable sitting here saying that Thiago Silva shouldn't be playing every week because he's more than good enough. He's proven he's good enough. We need that leadership at the back. Of course we do. But it's an interesting conversation to have in terms of, well, what does that mean for Badiashile's development this season? When is he going to get opportunities other than cup games where Silva might be rested? Certainly in the earlier rounds, maybe against lesser opposition. When are we going to see enough opportunity for Badiashile to play this season? Because centre-back's not an area you rotate often. It's not exactly like an attacking situation where you make attacking subs during a game, unless a centre-back's having an absolute howler or they get injured or they're knackered or whatever. You don't really see like-for-like swaps at centre-back during a game. So it's one of those where, your centre-back pairing is set, and you very rarely deviate from that unless you absolutely have to. And with obviously, at a top club like Chelsea, you need a lot of competition for places. You need quality and strength in depth. But at the same time, when it's a position that doesn't get rotated much, there's going to be some very good players that aren't going to be playing as much as they feel they should be playing. And for me, I think it would be a real disservice to Badiashile if he doesn't play on a regular basis this season. He's been out for a while and he's going to get a return soon. But where's he going to get the minutes? Obviously, the game against Wimbledon is probably going to come too soon. But, is Poch going to chop and change the centre-back pairing during the league season? I think that's a big mistake to be doing things like that. There's not going to be that many cup games. The FA Cup doesn't start until January. It's a long season. Yes, Silva may well be rotated out of the side, of course, but you want continuity in that centre-back pairing. So it just begs the question, is it right for the long-term interests of Chelsea for someone like Badiashile to spend potentially the majority of the season kind of in and out the side, not really playing that much? Again, a new sign like the Sassy probably signed on the premise that, he probably wasn't going to feature that much in the first season. But then when Thiago Silva left, the Sassy's already kind of the replacement for him as such within the squad. He's been here for a year. He understands the club, understands how the manager works, and then he's more set and ready to go. And it's kind of that succession planning you buy like a year before you need sort of thing, which is great. And I'm fully on board with that. And I think that could possibly be the way there. But I just worry, are we playing the three just to accommodate these defenders? Are we playing it to accommodate the Sassy? Are we playing it to accommodate Thiago Silva to get the best out of him potentially? Could we be better off going with a young partnership of Levi Colwill and Benoit Badiashile at the back? It's obviously all hypotheticals here, but it's a very interesting debate point, I feel, and there's pros and cons to both. When you've got a player like Silva, he's playing well and at the top of his ability, which he pretty much has done virtually his entire Chelsea career, then you can't really give a legitimate reason not to play him. But if we are purely playing the back three just to accommodate him, and the back three I don't feel gets the best out of the group of players that we've got, then there is a genuine conversation to be had. Or you just drop the Sassy, which is the other choice, which I think is the easier choice to do. But we need to develop Badiashile. He's going to be a top player for us, and he's going to need regular minutes as well. Levi Colwill is going to want regular minutes. There's not enough places in the team to satisfy these guys' need for regular football. So, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, on the one hand, I feel like, fuck, how am I having this conversation about whether Thiago Silva should be playing week in, week out for Chelsea? It should be a no-brainer. He's an absolute legend of a player. What a guy. But then on the other part of me is thinking, well, in the long-term development of the club, would we be better off potentially going down a different route in terms of playing Badiashile and Colwill, or getting to Sassy more minutes as well, potentially? It's a really, really tricky one. But I think Pochettino obviously is a big fan of Silva. Again, people were surprised that he was overlooked for the captaincy, not even named vice captain. I think there's two things for that. One, a player of his experience and his age, do you really that bothered about having the armband? You don't need the armband on to be a leader. Everyone knows that Thiago Silva is a leader in the squad, a leader at Chelsea. I don't think that's that much of a big deal. Plus, obviously, he's really only going to be here for this season, so it makes more sense to, instead of changing a captain again 12 months after arriving, to get a set sort of long-term captaincy group, Reece James, Chile, etc. But yeah, it's because it's going to be his last season. You just wonder, is it the right thing to keep playing him every week at the expense of someone else? But ultimately, I suppose you do go with what's best for the team. And if Silva and Colwill is your first choice partnership, then you stick with that for as much as you possibly can. And it's up to the likes of Badiashile, the likes of the Sassy, to put the performances in training, out-train these guys, outperform these guys in training. And then when you're given your opportunity, make sure you make the absolute most of it. That is the reality of the situation here. But it's an interesting point, guys. I mean, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below, whether you think Thiago Silva should still be starting for Chelsea every single week. Would we be better off giving Badiashile more minutes, as he's going to be part of the long-term future at Chelsea? Is Thiago Silva really so important that he has to play week in, week out for our immediate short-term goals? Can we still achieve the same level of success, perhaps with Badiashile in the side, or the Sassy in the side maybe as well? These are all interesting points. I mean, for my opinion, for what it's worth, I still think Silva has got a lot to offer and he should play. But I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate and looking at the bigger picture as well. And, you sort of look at it and think, well, would Badiashile benefit more from getting those regular minutes, getting more Premier League experience, getting more experience in the side of it, a new partnership with Levi Colwill? Again, Silva and Colwell's a new partnership as well. Silva is so important around the dressing room and Cobham and the training ground and all that these guys can still learn an awful lot from him. So yeah, it's a really interesting one, but please do let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. But that's just my thoughts on whether Thiago Silva should be playing week in, week out. I feel like we have this conversation every season and people write Silva off and then he ends up being our best centre-back. I'm not writing him off at all. I think he should be playing. I'm just kind of raising the question and giving sort of a balanced viewpoint on the whole scenario. But please do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you smash a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. I'll catch you again in another video soon. Take care, up the Chelsea, and peace out, people.